people. The Brotherhood always helps the poverty-stricken people. We help anybody in distress. We help anything or any nationality whatsoever. However, the government does not see it our way. They feel...
On a commandé là-bas en fait.
I don't wish to discuss about the government because it's none of my business. I'm not a politician. However, this is my only reason. I said I would ask, beg of you not to publish, but they will be hurt, not me.
No problem, we won't.
And if he hears that, he's going to repeat it. The rest of them are police people.
Yeah.
You see, this is where my difficulty lies. I'm not afraid of nothing. I respect people, and they respect me. But if the Buddhist monks can be hurt, they are my brothers. I cannot afford for them to be hurt.
Of course, I can understand, of course.
It would be very selfish of me to do that, really. I am still practicing now. That is the reason I people know. The girls know it. The other two boys of meditation, they know it.
Okay. We won't talk about it. And we won't say anything about
I'll
it.
tell you anything you can ask me, do what you want, except that little piece.
Okay, no problem.
If you want verification for my photograph as a real monk, I think Jean Roger, they have my photograph. They're the only people who have not discussed it with anyone.
Okay. We will, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Let's talk together about your story. You were saying that all English schools were destroyed by the Japanese.
I was born, I'll start again. My name was not U Hla Win. It is two names. You have a British name or Richard Morris.
Richard Morris.
Richard Morris. And my date of birth is 1936, so to date it makes me 75 years old. Now, I lived during the Japanese occupation in 1942. I was 6 years old. Yeah. And during the period of that particular 6 years old time,
You have memories of that time?
Yes, of course I have very vivid memories. It's because for 5 years, the British came back in 1944, 43, 44. I was only about 6, 7 years old, 8 years old then. Like I said, there was no English teaching schools available to go to, so I entered a monastery at that point. I learned a lot at that period of time while I was in the monastery. If you enter the monastery, no matter what jewels you've got, you have to remove it. You enter the monastery as a singular person with nothing. And I do not bond myself with materialistic things like gold, diamond. I do not wear nothing of that nature. My popular belief, and it's not my belief, is always being that we do not attach as a Buddhist materialistic things to ourselves. I do not possess gold chains, diamond chains. I have a simple silver chain. But what is important is the medallion, which connects me to my Buddhist brotherhood. And the Buddhist brotherhood, we are the type of people, we look after the poor, we help any nationality. You don't have to be a person of Myanmar, anybody. Now, if I go back to the period of time where my education was and why I'm able to converse with you in an articulate manner is only because I was educated in St. Paul's High School, which is a Brothers Catholic school, and I was also educated in St. Patrick's, which is in Malmaine. It's like being in Paris and Geneva. That's the distance between them.
Sorry, I missed it. St. Paul's High School, and then
High School, yeah, St. Paul's
High School, and you said something else after.
St. Patrick's.
Ah, St. Patrick's.
St. Patrick's is an Irish school run by brothers from Ireland. But being in the school as a boarder after the Japanese occupation, when the British returned, I was able to attend the English schools, and this is where I learned my real English being educated in an English school. If I was to remain in the Buddhist monastery, I would still be speaking Myanmar. I know, like some of my other friends there, I would not be able to converse with you. That is the other side of it. During the period of the time when I entered this, by the way, I forgot one little particular thing. When I was born with an English name, Richard Morris, and the Burmese name is U Hla Win. I was a Catholic then. My parents were. Some of my parents were Catholics. My grandmother was a Protestant. My mother is more or less like Buddhist. Nearly they're Buddhist. The reason I changed my Buddhism into Buddhism is out of loyalty, out of respect, and out of not having anything to return as a form of gratitude to the Buddhist monk. He was the only person, the Buddhist monk, who taught me what I know today. However,
the only person you mean? Who was that?
He's my master.
Your master?
His name is Unyan Singh.
Oh. It's better.
This is where you come and start. That's his name. And he's of Shan ethnic. Oh.
Sorry.
Shan.
Shan. Okay.
He's a Shan ethnic group.
What's your group? Shan also?
No. My group or myself?
Yourself?
My personal self. My personal self with a name like Morris. My grandfather was Welsh. He comes from Wales. We're not English. He was English. And the name Morris is a Welsh name. And my mother, great grandmother being Myanmar. So she's a local Burmese girl. So that's why I have two names. U Hla Win is the Burmese name. Morris is the English name.
Okay. And what was the level of life of your family? I mean, they were rich, poor, the middle?
Oh, they're middle class.
Middle.
They're not wealthy people, middle class.
And in your Myanmar side of family, they were practicing martial arts? Or?
My family?
Yeah.
No. In my family, my brothers, I had two other brothers, but one is he wanted to go into engineering, and the other one he went into telecommunications. Myself, in physical sports, I was reasonably outstanding. That's why I was chosen by my master. So my practice started, or my training started as a bamboo fighter, because he himself was a fighter. Then this time did not come into it for reasons he did not introduce it for fear of the Japanese. The Japanese would not tolerate, the British do not tolerate the Thai practitioners. Some were incarcerated, some were driven out of their places, and some were executed. I may be going a bit too strong here, but in history, the British did not tolerate any form of Myanmar arts. It is only when the Japanese returned, it was reintroduced, because the Japanese practiced themselves Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, Aikido, like I said. There are various forms of things. The Taekwondo and all is mainly from actually the Korean side, but we're talking about the Japanese side.